Okay. All right, so we're live from my shop down here in South Dade. Gary Venama is going to do a little demo on turning finials.
Just so you guys know, I looked on the screen here and saw who all's on here. You guys have all been around the block a lot, so I'm not going to do a very long thing. Just a couple things that might you might pick up an idea or two. I doubt it, because you guys have all been turning a long time. Like most of our demos, I think we're looking to show stuff to new people, to expose them and whatnot. Anyhow, I like to do, you know, you see there's videos out there all over the place. Cindy Drose's are probably some of the best, but they start with a large piece of wood, and you know, by the time she's done, there's nothing left. And wood ain't getting cheap anymore, just like groceries ain't, and gas isn't getting cheap. But you can still have fun doing this, and a lot of us have done pens, so you probably have pen blanks, or as I said in my thing there, writing instruments. Walmart sells pens. We sell writing instruments, and that's why they cost $45 instead of 89 cents. But you have pieces left over when you do some of these. You order up some of these acrylic blanks, and you can. I don't know if this will show real good. Yeah, I guess you can see it here. This is a piece of acrylic which has got some really neat colors in it from. It's a guy out in Colorado Springs. He doesn't have a store. He does it all online. Beartooth Woods has got some killer blanks. Of course, a lot of people do, but he's among them. They're called Lava Explosion. They're just phenomenal, all the colors they get in one. And you know, you can glue that up between other pieces. And I like to make the collars on this one. I didn't. Here's an
Watch that hole in the floor.
yeah. Here's another one I did. It's got I turned a ball. I was trying out a sphere thing, and I turned a sphere and then cut some grooves in it, switched it around, and burned it with a wire, and then just made a small finial on top. But instead of just having one finial such as this going up out of a piece, you can mix and match woods, make a collar out of one thing. This is a lid for a big vase I made, kind of short and a stout one. And I had a nice piece of wood. It turned real nice. And I got for once I was proud of one of my shapes. I thought I got a real nice onion shape out of it. And you know, you can turn this in one piece here and then make your finial separate. And a lot of us, you know, we have these little scraps of wood, and it kills all of us to throw it away. And I even had from years ago when I was making pens like crazy, I had some pieces of diamond wood laying around. And Dave Friendlick, you're out there, right? I know Piper's out there. You can put your finger up and feel how slick that's. See how slick that is? I know you can feel it from your screen. This stuff polishes up wonderful, and I haven't used it in forever, but I never threw it out. I threw out a couple of them. This is what I'm not real hip on this green color. That's probably why that was laying around. Here's one I just did to show you where you start from. And this stuff is harder than Chinese arithmetic. And it can get sort of rough on the tools, I guess, but it does, there's no voids in it. It's a million little layers of, I think birch ply or something. They do it up north and under massive pressure, and then they inject it with some kind of, I don't know, epoxy material, some kind of resin material, but it polishes up wonderful. And you take it down to about 1,000, 1,200 grit, and maybe go through some of that micro mesh stuff, and then just put some automotive wax on it. And you know, you can make a whole bunch of these up, and then you got them laying around. And when you make a nice vase, you go, man, I don't know what kind of piece of wood would look good, what color would match. If you have a bunch of them laying around, you can kind of test them and see, you know, is this one too tall? Is this one too short? Maybe I need to make it a little wider, or make it like this one, which was quite a bit wider. I'm sorry, quite a bit wider here than these guys are here. And you can have a lot of fun. And it's also gives you some practice working with small things, learning to take a light touch, because we all kind of had to learn to do that in wood turning, because woodworking of all sorts will generally teach you patience, because if you get too impatient, it'll blow up on you or you'll screw it all up. And we've all been there and done that, or at least heard ugly rumors of it. I've personally experienced it. Some of you have probably only heard the rumors, like Piper. But anyhow, a cheap and easy way to get into this and not have to spend a lot of money. Some of the folks don't have a whole range of different chucks with different size jaws and all. You're getting down to smaller stuff. These are metal collets used in the metalworking industry with, I guess, metal lathes and milling machines and things. And there's various types. Some are shorter, and they're called E35 and E25 collets. And I think they have more fingers. As you see here, there's 3 fingers on this thing. And what you do is you go, at least this one, and I don't know if all of them use 3/8 rod. You can find out when you order them, I guess. And I had in that thing I wrote up on there, it showed even a whole set of collets you could buy. I'm presuming on those, they all took a 3/8 standard threaded rod, 3/8 by 16 threads per inch, and you thread it into about all the way up to about right here. I'm right about there. That's far enough. And it's not going to go anywhere. And you fish this thing. I'm going to turn this, Ralph, just for a minute. You fish this guy through your headstock. We should have done this afterward. I'll take it off real quick.
Well, you can take the nut off. Yeah, you gotta go back to the
Yeah, I
back.
got to go back through. Stand by 1 second, kids. All these lathes, the through hole through your spindle is 3/8 of an inch, which is just fine too. And you just screw this dude on there. No, I'm definitely far enough in. Come back here again. As you can see on, bring it up, as you can see on these things here, I'm only in about 3/8 of an inch. I'm not very far. On that paperwork that that thing I sent over to Pat Calloway to pass out, I had mentioned on there I was doing a piece of Bacote, which is Mexican rosewood. It's very waxy. It's almost like lignum vitae. So when I first did it, it was slipping a bit. So I took it back out and I cut the tenon on there to go inside that collet. I made it probably an inch. But most of these, it doesn't take much at all. This one I had cut off, and it wasn't that short. But I even did a piece of mango, and I highly recommend a real hard, close grain, probably exotic wood. Maple's wonderful. Cherry would probably work. But the exotics and all, like kingwood and different rosewoods and cocobolo and all that, they're great. This was another piece of diamond wood. I think they called this a raspberry. And again, it polishes up real nice. It didn't take much at all. And it held fast. Matter of fact, sometimes I've had to unscrew the thing, just like you saw me screw it on, get it out of there and get a thin rod and bang the finial out of there, because it won't let go once you really tighten her down with just a wing nut. So the other end, what I did was, these won't fit on Ralph's, and I have a Powermatic too. This will fit on my jet. I drilled turned out a piece on the back of a piece of wood that would fit. Can you bring that right over here, Ralph? And as you saw in the pictures on the paperwork I gave, that thing fit right over the quill. Right over the quill on there. You just pop the your center out and pop that on there, and it'll fit over the quill. Here, we'll pull it out of here. The jet's a little smaller because it's much smaller lathe. And what I do is I wind it back until it's right up against here. If it's a little touch of play, it'll be squared up against there and you're good to go. And this was a router bearing. And this was the first one I did in that 6-page thing I sent out to you all. But it was kind of big. And the problem was getting in between here, being able to get tool access to the Finial itself was a problem. So I made another one and I rummaged around because I've done for years other woodwork too. I don't do much anymore because turning's fun and the others gets to be a pain in the ass. I got a small router bearing. I think this was 5/8 outside diameter OD and right around a 1/4 inch, 3/16 to a 1/4 inch inside diameter. It might have been a metric size close. And so I get a piece of wood. I use a small center in the headstock, put it between there, and draw your diagonal lines, just like this. This one's prepared and ready to go here. I've got my diagonal line, and I drill a little hole in each end. And what that does is lets me get this in here and up close to it. And then I crank the other end down with either a 60-degree point like this, which means you can get this end down nice and small, so you can have a small end that looks like this one to go into your tailstock here. And what this does is just keeps it from, this hole isn't quite big enough. This keeps it from flipping around. Now you all that do, I think most of you have done pins, and this is a thing sold by Penn State Industries. This is just a bearing. It's a tailstock bearing. And it's got a support for those mandrels. So when you make your pins, to keep them from flipping around. Well, it'll also keep one of these guys from flipping around. Don't mind this. I have a small record lathe at home with a number 1 Morse taper. And this is a 2-to-1 reducers. That's all. So I don't have one of these to fit a number 2 Morse taper, but I don't think there's any number 1 Morse taper wood lathes made anymore. That was just an old lathe I had. It's a wonderful lathe. It just takes number 1. So this thing goes in here. And here, let go of that. That'll tighten up. That's ready. And what I do is you put, back this up just a hair. You put this into here. And when I'm turning this between centers, as you see in the paperwork, I turn this in first at the tail end. It's up against a point like this, or a 60-degree point. And I turn the one end down, and I just use a wrench as a sizing tool. And the deal is, I got to tell you, try to get it just so this just goes over there. If you get it under much at all, there's just not much play between these fingers. So it's got to be pretty precise. You don't have a lot of wiggle room. This one will go in here. I know it'll go in here because I had it in here before.
Gary?
Go ahead.
Gary?
I hear you.
If you look at Mike Peace, he's got a set of collets that he got from Craft Supply. I ended up getting them. They're, oh gosh, it's the Craft Supplies, the cheaper versions. Is it called the Apprentice or something?
Yeah.
Anyway, it comes with 5 collets. And then he also on Amazon, I was able to get a set of 13 collets.
Yeah, I think on that paperwork I sent,
like 3/4 of an inch. So you never, even if you screw up.
yeah, if you look at that paperwork I sent out,
It's,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 different sizes. The reason I like 3/8, at least it gives you something to grab here. I don't want it real thin because you might snap it off. Although these woods are really good, and then this Morse taper collet here, little machine shop, 13, and this was just the other day when I did this, $13.95 plus $118 shipping. I don't know if you've seen shipping charges lately, but it sucks. Anyhow,
you might want to look on Amazon for those, because if you have Prime, you get free shipping.
yeah. And anyhow, I was just going to show one other thing here. Here's another one. Actually, this one, I think I had turned square in one of these little apprentice chuck. I have one of these apprentice chucks from Craft Supply. They're not cheap, but Ralph will tell you they are great. These things are, this is a piece of steel here. And this went in there. And here's some more of that acrylic stuff in between some other wood. And this thing got pretty good and thin here. But, you know, if you don't have $160 to buy one of these chucks, $13.95.
Or if you've got already got your one way or your Nova,
And get different
you
jaws.
can get these.
Right.
I don't know if you can see that.
Can you see that pin here? I'll hold it mute. So yeah, I think so.
Pin jaws.
Pin jaws, which will close real.
Which will close real small also.
Exactly. They would probably close enough to go right.
Oh, yeah, they'll close.
They'll close on one of these guys
They'll
too.
close
That's
down
almost
less
there.
than a quarter.
Yeah.
So just
Um,
another option
Right.
for chucking.
And then what I do is when you tighten, for you guys that haven't done it, I got it jammed in there.
Gary, just had a thought. I haven't done it, but I was thinking about it.
Go ahead, Dave.
Joel, and
Go. Hey, back up just a minute. This computer's freezing up off and on. Go ahead, Dave.
what if you had a piece of wood up there and you drilled a 3/8 inch hole and jam fitted it and then made it a little bit larger, a little bit longer, so you could cut it off, or you could re-drill it if you were worried about it sticking? Could you do?
You're exactly right. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put this one here. This was an old chuck I had laying around. I think God was a corporal probably when this one was made. He may have been a staff sergeant. And I just jammed a dowel. I had centered in a chuck, a piece of dowel, center drilled it, and the same deal. This will the end of a finial. I think that I'll do it this way. We'll go in there, and this thing will spin, and it'll give us some support also. You just don't want to put a whole lot of pressure between centers, or it starts to bow, and then it gets, it's cutting on one side, not on the other. Maybe it snaps, and then your neighbors hear colorful language that they might never have heard before. I mean, it could happen. So that was a third way. And when you're turning the small end, the same thing. You just set your calipers to whatever the inside diameter is of this thing. And then okay, that's how thin this thing is. I go right down to the piece of wood while I'm turning between centers till it's real close. This one was a little bit bigger, probably I was using it on that other bearing or whatever. And you get your support up here. And this is a little sloppy fit in this one because I had it set for one of the others, but we're just illustrating. I have that right there. I might push it just a hair. Meanwhile, that'll spin in here, and I come to my other end. Anyhow, at the other end through the tailstock, I'm just tightening down the wing nut. Yeah, I think we can show it. I'm just tightening down the wing nut here. And as I got that, Ralph? As I tighten this thing down now and hold it at the other end, it'll start making those 3 fingers on this thing really grip the heck out of it. And you can just do it hand tight. It ain't going anywhere. And now we're ready to go. And you can't make, if you're going to do real short spindles, you're not going to need a support anyhow. And you want to make sure, like this one, this tool rest is just perfect for this because I can get to the end of it and I'm good to go. And I'm just going to turn a little bit, and then this baby's over because you guys know what you're doing. Use this. One of my tools for cutting that initial tenon on this end, which becomes the piece that fits inside the tenon, is just a tool bit inside a piece of drilled out rod. I think this was rod all the way through. You can order it from some of these metal supply places. 1/4 inch inside diameter. And then I just drilled it and tapped it. And you don't need special equipment. Just hit it with a punch, drill out your thing for a set screw, and then thread it. So you need a tap and a die, or just a tap, and set a metal working bit in there, and they're about this long. They cost $3-4, and works real well. Good grade of steel, sharp as can be, and you cut your tenon with that, and that's about all you need. I'm going to kick it on, just do a little bit, and you see how well it works. I'll crank it up good. One thing about a skew, if you use the corner, it's very, very little pressure on your wood. If I get the corners knocked off, I'll hit the angle of the tool a little better. I'm mainly just using my thumb to push things across here. You don't have a whole lot of room to work. Now, let me get these guys up. Let me get this. Now it's pretty much to work with. And you can take a skew and you can do some scooping and you can do some turns, which most people probably didn't think you could. Now remember, I've got some wood inside there, and that part we'll just cut off later. So pretty much this is going to be the tip here. This is a sloppy fit in this end. It's not real tight, which I would rather have it, at least for illustrative purposes. Okay. Ralph made a good point. You could wrap it. I could wrap a couple wraps of masking tape or anything I got laying around there and tighten it up, but it's not bouncing too bad. Like I said in that write-up I did, it's easier to do it than explain it. And if you don't feel that comfortable, grab a 3/8 inch gouge and just work your way down, and you can go in both directions. He's just making a racket. That's better. And you can use your tool just like a skew, and it'll cut real hard wood. You'll almost see it shine. We're getting down there. I mean, I just took it down a little bit. It was bouncing around before because it had that sloppy fit inside this thing, which would have fit much better inside this bearing. But at least you've seen the examples. You work away from the, you work from inboard to outboard, puts less pressure on the piece of wood. I know Ralph's here, who's gracious enough to let me use this thing for this demo. He does some pretty long spindles on chalices and stuff he makes. Real long when they're quite thin. We'll put this in is way too big for this nice spindle I got. Just start working it down. And if you want to do like a, I don't know, part way down, you want to do a ball or something, do a couple cuts in there and then just start working it over to left and right. If you're afraid it's going to move, you can put your fingers behind there just to kind of support it. It just seems to be doing okay. At this point, as you're working your way down, now you would start sanding these guys right in here. The little tip on here at the very end, you can get your finger there and just clean that up and sand it, and that way it doesn't snap off. Or you can pull this thing away, and as you get down there, maybe it's not whipping around much. You can just take it away, but it's just an added support. It's a non-expensive way. And the good thing here is you're getting this right up by the spindle. You're not everything you put on here, every chuck and whatever that jacks your piece of wood away from the headstock leaves more chance for it to get out of concentric circle. So the closer you are, the tighter it'll be, and you're less chance of it flipping around on you. I got other little tools and homemade thing, but you've made them too. I mean, there's a little piece of drill rod and another piece of, I think I center drilled this on my little jet lathe with a small thing, drilled it out. I had a thing in there, one working, I just super glued it in there. I think that's how I saw it. Something David Ellsworth, you know, one of the big names, he just super glues them in there. When you wear them all down, heat it up, throw another one in. But this little tool's like a little baby skew also, and it'll work. You should have it. I shouldn't have this quite out this far away. This thing should be further in. That way you can keep this main bar on the tool rest. It'll work too.
What size Thompson tool were you using?
And it doesn't do a bad job at all. It's just a little piece of drill rod.
Somebody had a question?
What size Thompson tool were you using?
I was using a 3/8 Thompson. You can tell somebody likes a tool. As you can see, my flute is about 1.5 inches long. I've burnt this thing down. That's about 96,308 sharpenings, roughly, give or take 3. I said before when I've done demos, these Thompson tools they hold an edge. They're wonderful. And he's just a one-man band, works out of his place up in Ohio. A guy who used to be an engineer for Ford, and he does wonderful. He makes wonderful tools. They're just great. The finishing process they use makes them black, so then when you sharpen them, you can see right where you did sharpen them. And usually, I noticed another thing: when he sells you a tool, you get about a 7-inch flute in there. Often there's an inch longer than most of the competitors. That's a lot of sharpenings, and it'll last you a long time. I'm about to order another one of these up because I've just wiped this. I've got to take it out of here to put it in my tool rest. Yeah. Here's one of Ralph Thompson's here. You can see how long the flute is. If I did any more, I would just bore you guys with watching me turn little doodads on there. I know it's getting hard for everybody to keep thinking of new things to show people how to do with your lathe, but it shows you some things you can use. Probably things you already have laying around. Like a lot of you probably have this bearing that to keep your pin thing from whipping around. Cause I used to have a problem when I made the pins, especially when you made the 2-part ones where you had 2 of them, it would get longer and longer and that thing would start whipping around, or if you put too much pressure on it, it would bow. And this thing really helped solve that problem. I just don't make many pins anymore. I used to give them away. But, and I do the single barrel ones, so they're not that long. And that kind of solved the problem. Is there any other questions? It's very quiet.
Very quiet out there.
Gary,
I'm here with Ralph, my hero.
Yeah.
Gary, you were breaking up when I was asking about the Thompson tools. Is that the 3/8" spindle gouge?
You know what? I think this was actually the bowl gouge. I think I've got a spindle gouge too.
Or is that the detail?
This is a
He
bowl
has
gouge. It's
detail.
pretty deep. I'm going to get a spindle gouge for doing this stuff because I think it would be, I think it would work out real well.
Grab that.
You have one thing?
And how do you like the handles?
Oh, the other one, that next one. That's actually a P&N from Australia.
Yeah, this is
Detail.
this is a detail gouge. That's pretty thick. I mean, a spindle gouge would go down a little bit more than this. The bowl gouge dips down in the flute even deeper.
How do you like the handles?
Looks like a Ralphie made handle with a bolt
Oh,
on
you
the
talking
end.
about-
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, this
the
handle.
Thompson.
I love this handle. I love this handle. I just tried it. What's great, it doesn't roll off the bench. It's got a couple flat spots on it. So you don't have it. You know, when I don't know about you guys, when my tools roll off the lathe or something, they every time land right down
On the point.
on the point. Every freaking time. I can guarantee it. Writing.
Well, you know, that video I sent out the other day about rolling tools off the lathe and catching the shop on fire.
Yeah. Or poking a nice hole in your
Well,
foot.
yeah, that's why you should wear shoes when you're turning, real shoes, not, you know.
And it's also a bad habit to try to break the fall of the tool with your foot.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
That's yeah, that gets rather
hurts.
nasty. I don't know what else to do. I just bore you to death. I will show you I found some nasty piece of mango, and on a couple of the mango ones, I made some bases and I filled in some cracks and all kinds of stuff. And they're just and I poured paint all over them and flowing colors, and then covered them with epoxy. They came out looking great. Any cracks that were left, they end up looking like just beautiful black lines. They go, man, that's really cool. I go, yeah, I'm just an autistic genius, you know. This was a piece of mango. I was going to make a vase, but it was so rotted and it was so messed up. And there was a worm crawling out of this one, the size of my finger. But I'll put that by the camera there. I mean, this, when I sliced it up, it was much whiter than this. I had some like OB shine juice
Right,
stuff, the
yeah.
stuff you mix 30% alcohol, 30% shellac. I had some dark shellac when I went to the Home Depot, and I didn't realize I got the dark shellac, but it made it a nice wooden color. But the other, I now have some just clear shellac, and this will make an even better contrast against the mahogany with it whiter, I believe. So, and then,
So a work in progress.
yeah, this is one I just haven't made. I haven't made the bowl for it yet. You know, you can make the bowl to make the top fit to it, or you can make the top and make the bowl fit to it. It's no big deal. Just keep sneaking up on it. Here's another thing. These are some really little thin pieces. All I got to do now, because I was all these things are 3/8 inch on the tenon, drill a 3/8 inch hole part way in, and this is pretty white with some this reddish color will look pretty cool against there, or that multicolored one I had. Whatever the hell I did with it. Oh, here, this one now. This would look pretty cool against there, I think. And this thing is wafer thin, but you know, you can make your little collar or whatever you want to call this, the first piece of your thing almost, about the thickness of a quarter, and have that done in one piece, then turn your finial. Then if you screw one of them up, you can make it again. If you start with a whole piece of wood this big and burn it all down and then mess it up, that sucks, because the wood cut, probably if it's some kind of fancy wood, it probably costs $14 or something. This costs nothing. That's about all I have for you guys, man.
Anybody got questions?
We'll take that as a no.
I guess so.
Will you be signing autographs later?
No.
Yeah, but you'll have to stop by here. We're not going to you.
I have a question here, Gary.
Go ahead.
On page 6, paragraph 3A, section 5, it's, no, that's okay. I got it.
Subsection 4. I can't, if you want to finish up a little bit, would you like me to give you some of my favorite recipe for cooking Tide Pods before you eat them? I can do that.
Cooking what?
Eating Tide Pods.
That's pretty good, Gary. I think we got the point.
Okay. Never mind.
Never
Hey,
mind.
thanks for putting up with me.
We're not going somewhere
It's
else.
getting hard to figure new. We've all done, we've all made pans. We've all done bowls. Dave Piper's done a couple times with his
Rose
that
engine.
cool lathe he's got and everything.
Yeah,
You've
we
seen that.
might have to do another one of those someday, so who knows?
We've done sharpening at least once a year, but in safety stuff.
Gary, I
Yeah.
don't care what demo you do, you always learn one or two things. And thank you, because I picked up a couple things on your demo, so that
Yep.
was
Oh,
very
good.
good.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's funny because you can take a lathe that's kind of neat because you can make a lot of your fixtures with your lathe. It's not, I mean, they say a metal lathe is for one tool, it can actually almost replicate itself. Wood lathe, you can do an awful lot with it too. Make your own handles, make accessories and all. Pretty cool machine. What you learn, the more you play with it, the more you find out it can do. It's like a router. So many people think a router is nothing to do but do the edge of a tabletop. Man, I used to use them for making wonderful joints that fit together perfect and all kinds of stuff. A router is incredible, but a lathe is too. Well, I'm going to turn it over to the president. Thank you, guys.
Gee, thanks. Thanks, Gary. So,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
Okay.
So I guess, does anybody have any work that they want to show off?
I've got some here.
No.
Yes,
Look it
sir.
out, brother. Come on.
Well, just give me 2 seconds here to read through this screen.
All right. This, I'll just tell you about it. This was, Ron Bowser found some, Lysoloma sabaku. Ralph.
Froze up again.
There was some nice sabaku there. Lysoloma sabaku.
All right, you want to give it a show?
Can you
Okay.
hold it up, Dave?
Hold on. Let me go ahead and
Right.
spotlight Mr. Piper. People are jumping.
No, that's Ron Bowser. No, wrong guy.
Damn it.
Hang on. We're trying to get you, Dave. Just stand by a minute.
No problem.
Okay, now we got you.
All right, go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Dave. Now we got you.
All right, let me back up. There we
Back
go.
up.
Oh, yeah.
This is part of a crotch piece. I cut it in half, so I've got the other half to do yet. And you can see that, let me get that blur out of there because that's making it fuzzy. Hold on,
I thought it was my eyes.
hold on. Hold on.
Much better.
There we go.
There you go.
Let me go here. Virtual background, get rid of the blur. None. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, what's, like I say, this is the
Damn it.
I think Ralph,
Show
Ron
us the
Bowser,
bottom.
Joe Self and myself went out there and collected a lot. Joe, I don't know if Joe Self still has some in his front yard, but it's a crotch piece. It's got some nice patterns there.
That's some nice figure in it.
Pretty.
Yeah, it does. I don't know if you can see here, right in there, I'll point to it.
Oh, yeah.
The feathering in there, it's really nice. So the other half will look just like it.
Was that miserable to sand or not too bad?
No, I tell you, I let this sit for a good month or more. And kept it in the bag and I kept checking it and it was, I got it to 0.
Wow,
And-
cool.
But this is one, I did turn it pretty much to finish. And it surprised me, there wasn't much sanding. So this is Danish oil, the first time I've used Danish oil in a while. So I didn't put a couple more coats on it. There's literally, you see the knot there. Got a couple gaps in there, put some CA glue in that. But other than that, I'm happy with it. The other piece is bigger. This is about 10-inch diameter, but the thing is, because of the natural edge, it looks like oval, it's oval.
You know, Sabaku trees are beautiful in themselves, and then the
Yeah.
wood is just such a neat color.
Yeah, even here you see that.
Look at all
feather.
that. Look at all that at the top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bottom got better figure than the top.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
Froze again.
just set it down.
Yeah, dude.
There you go.
Critics.
Cool. I like it.
So that's it.
That's it. That was it.
That's it. Okay.
Anybody else?
Hang on. Yeah. I got some stuff, or 2 things.
All right.
2 things. Close.
All right. Hold still. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
nice natural edge.
Nice.
Oh, you got the blur thing going on too,
Yeah, it's not bad. That froze you.
and you're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me or
I
not.
don't know if that's your internet,
It's my internet.
your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You might be the weather.
See Dave Piper full screen.
There you go. I see
Yeah,
you.
no, you
Full screen.
froze there, Brian. So I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that my internet connections keeps freezing.
It was storming down here when I got here, so I don't know if it's between where you guys are and where Ralph is here. It's messing up his internet.
It says my network
Okay.
bandwidth is low.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on that bark, what I may say something, what I've been doing lately on some of the, I've tried it, and some of the mahogany that I have, that I had some where a lot of the bark fell off and I didn't want to, leave it all off. And, you usually use CA glue and, that comes off after a while. So I tried some hot glue. And surprisingly, so far, the hot glue seems to really stick good. And even though when you press down the bark and the hot glue seeps out, it's very easy to take off once it dries. You can just put your finger, rub it off.
I think there's different grades of hot glue and some are stronger
yeah.
than others.
And when we had,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, it's whatever came in a pack. I didn't bother to even check to see what it was,
Yeah, well, it worked good. Hey, that's good to know. You know what's cool too? That'll flex a bit. So instead of it just cracking and popping off,
That's the only thing.
maybe that helps hold it too.
Yeah, that's good. You just, once you put it down, that's it.
Cool.
You got your camera off, Dave?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
why? I don't. Why, you want to see me?
Mine's on.
No, not really, but,
Oh, well, that's why I turned it off.
okay, so you got some more, Brian? Hold on. Everybody hold still.
Auto,
There.
oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. So a piece of avocado,
Nice.
That's nice.
and I guess now that we're full screen, so that was the natural edge bowl.
Uh-huh.
Is that mahogany or more avocado?
No, avocado, both
Okay.
both avocado. So with deft lacquer.
You know, I come down from Chrome to 184th to come to, the meetings are here. I noticed, they took out a massive avocado grove there on the southeast corner. I see they planted a whole bunch of new trees since I was last down here.
They planted a whole bunch of new damn houses. That's the last
Oh, that
time you
too.
were
That's
down
further down, but I'm talking right at Chrome and 184. They,
here.
oh, I saw it. It was brought tears here. It was acres of old mature avocados. I guess they got bugs
Yeah.
and they took them out. Now they've planted, I don't know, some small stuff, some new stuff.
Be careful transporting avocado wood.
No, I don't think,
Yeah,
any of them- I don't want to cause a problem. I know.
Yeah.
It's got a disease, a bug.
Ambrosia beetles.
Yeah.
In fact, this one had some, didn't know, you probably can't see, but there's the ambrosia holes, right through it. So when I put the finish inside, turn it over and it's leak. And to make sure I killed them, I put them in the microwave and a bunch of them fell out from
Yeah,
the
I'll bet.
microwave. Yeah, so
Nuked them. Now, you say that's the ambrosia beetle? That's the same ambrosia beetle that,
they're sure to seal all the holes well. And I had this other second piece of natural edge bowl. I don't know what kind of wood it is, but so another.
is that the same ambrosia beetle that leaves the marks on the maple?
I don't know.
Oh.
And this one, it makes a little black pinholes. It could bore straight through the thing. So,
Yeah.
and maybe on the edge, but there's some that right there. And 15 of them will sit in a line on the head of a penny. That's how small they are. So
It's like those beetles are just, the emerald ash beetle is killing those ash trees out in Denver horribly and other places.
mhm.
Mm.
That's all for me.
That's all for you.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
I
wait.
forgot about this. I guess this is an unfinished piece of mahogany. I just put some finish on the inside. I'm gonna do it, making a pyrography on that side. So, but that's
Cool.
still unfinished mahogany right now. So,
Nice shape.
now that's it for me.
That's it. Thank you, Brian. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I've got one. See if it comes out okay. This is a piece of Arizona. You want to spotlight me so I can see it, or? This is Arizona
speak up.
cypress.
Barely hear you.
This is Arizona cypress.
I didn't hear what kind of trees.
Arizona cypress.
Simple bowl. Yep. Simple
Back up
bowl,
a little.
very, very lightweight wood,
Yeah.
got a lot of character in it. That's all I got.
You want to go get your mold?
What is that? Are those plates made from?
Not yet.
The bowls?
Lay it on me. Or you lay it on me. Pushing my chair.
You got a question, Dave Piper?
Nope,
Oh, I thought I heard you ask something.
nope.
Okay. All right, so anybody got anything else? All right, then I guess we'll go ahead and shut this thing down.
Thanks, Gary.
Hey, how did the
Okay.
hamburger introduce his girlfriend? Meet Patty. Never mind.
Okay, on that note, good night all.
Take care, guys.
His
Oh,
jokes,
wait.
his jokes
wait.
do not improve with age.
wait.
Yeah, I know.
Wait. Okay, are we done?
Thanks, Gary.
Anybody got anything else brilliant to say?
Yeah, put a fork in it.
All right, then we're gonna put a cork
I
in
know
it,
Dave Piper was asking, was I singing or did I fart?
put a cork in it and a fork in it. It's done. Good night all.
See ya.